Today is May 27, 2023, 10:08 a.m. I got about 3 hours of sleep today, and uh, and it seems like that I am moving into the right direction. So as I was driving here from the room that I live in, I'm wondering what is the anatomy of a trade. So the anatomy of a trade is basically um, there has to be there has to be a recognizable signal that tells me that the trade that I will make will be a higher probability trade. That's the first part. I have to recognize that in the stock. And so there has to be some background information concerning the the pattern that the stock is exhibiting. That means that I already have a pretty good idea what the stock is going to do based on the statistical probability. Because there's a thing called confluence, which creates a signature of the intent of that stock based on several different information. Now, once that happens, then I make the trade. And in order to maintain the statistical probability, I have to set the stop loss. I have to set the stop loss at a certain point based on the behavior of the normal behavior of the stock. That's how the stop loss is generated. As comparing Apple to orange, or in this case, Apple to let's say Apple to Netflix. Now Netflix is almost a $400 stock. Okay, so that means that it has the tendency, and it has a it has a tendency to move more so than Apple, where the average trading range for Apple is maintained normally on a normal basis, fluctuating between $2 to $3 either way. However, Netflix has the uh, possibility on extreme cases. Uh, However, in a normal case, it has the ability to move roughly around about $6, plus or minus $6. That's how it moves. And so, taking into that consideration to constrain my stop loss, it means that what I'm assuring in my trade is that have I timed it right based on the confluence that I used to enter the trade, at which point when I set my stop loss, it fits in with the conditions of the inherent characteristics of the stock. Then once I am in the trade with that information, the stop loss being a rigid stop loss where it is automatic, then I look to see what the profit taking point is. Then there is a reason to sell, as there is a reason to enter a trade. And when I see that reason to exit is there, such one example is that I'm an intraday trader and I'm attempting to trade the FTMO account where there's a constraint to sell before the market close, or it's automatically sold. Now, that's one constraint. The second part is the stop loss. It hits the stop loss. It's moving counter to the thesis that convinced me to enter the trade in the thesis that I have. Then there's the other side where I'm actually in profit, and in profit there is the probability that it is possible after a little bit of gain that it's going to drop and it's going to raise the gain that I have. That is the thought that I have. Now, how do I reason out the reasoning for reason to sell? Okay, without complicating with other situations. And I'm looking at somebody wrote a book called One Good Trade, and I can see why they would do that. Okay, it reduces the complexity of a trade, and it allows me to concentrate my focus on that particular stock, that one trade, to allow me to make the right decisions from beginning to the end. And that is the anatomy of a trade. Now, specifically speaking, these are the level of complexity that I need to calculate and to create a consistency, an envelope of consistency that covers a significant edge. It's a sphere of edge that has multiple pieces that make up a trade that is substantially advantageous to use in a market condition. And any outliers that are outside of that sphere of edge, then it is protected by the stop loss. That is the anatomy of a trade. The next step is specifically identifying those points of the sphere of edge in order to craft a precision response to allow myself to be programmed, as in a muscle memory, in trading, such that when I come into work as a day trader, then everything clicks together subconsciously. And that is done by practice and practice and practice. So essentially, that is the anatomy of a trade.